Hey everybody, I am Captain Tommy Scoville and you are on the lifeboat. And RM Blake, you are in luck because I am excellent at distracting people from paying bills. So is Quiet Girl. You're in the right place at the right time.
Hi,
Quiet Girl, how are
everybody.
you?
Good. How are you, Tommy?
I'm doing great. Welcome back to the boat,
Oh, yes.
to this side of the boat.
Yes.
Well, for you know what, I'm not a take something in a direction kind of guy. There's last time we were on, we heard a lot about your history, and we started talking about hello Kim Possible, and we started talking about I believe we started getting into some of the depression and some of the stuff that was heavier, and we started coming up on time. So you could take this wherever you would like, Quiet Girl, and we will go from there. How does that sound?
Okay. Well, basically, what I wanted to talk about was depression and what's going on with the holidays right now. A lot of people are dealing with a lot of different things. And, you know, depression is something that I've dealt with my whole life and in very strange and odd ways, not normal, because I have bipolar disorder, I have anxiety, I deal with a lot of mental illnesses, and I'm very proud that I deal with them. And I say that because there's a lot of people in this world that will unalive themselves because they can't deal with it. And by that, I mean having a discussion and being able to talk about the things that we deal with on a daily basis and we fight back against. We seek the help, we go for the help, and we find the help. It's the people that do not fight against the depression, the anxiety, the bipolar, the the hatred for ourselves that do not make it. Only the strong survive.
You know, I think this is really the reason that the Christmas message this year was to not suffer in silence. You know, there were so many
Yeah.
people this time of year. The number of people that sent me emails in the last 24 hours that started off by saying, "You know what? I never do this. I never send emails like this," and it sounds from this seat like they're the opening salvo is I suffer in silence, Tommy. Right? It's Christmas. I suffer in silence. You know, maybe this year I won't. It really. I don't know if you have found this, Quiet Girl, and you can tell me your because as someone who has gone through this, you know, for a long period of time,
Hmm.
do you notice that the connection makes a difference? I mean, honestly, because I feel this is a huge part of therapy, whether you're doing it here or whether you're doing it wherever. I'm not pitching the boat. I'm just saying that if when you start to connect with others, I think that there's medication in that of sorts.
The biggest thing with me personally this year, I know we did the talk about my father in August, and we discussed that, and it was a mind blowing experience for me, because that was really about me, giving my father the proper memorial that he never had. And it was releasing a lot of concrete off my body that a lot of people don't know can hang with you when you're not able to say your goodbye in a right way. The way I said goodbye to my father with you and with everybody on the boat, and everybody who came to the boat and saw what I went through and how it affected me with his alcoholism. And I thought I was good. I thought I was cool. I thought everything was great. And what ended up happening, long story short, was my husband was decorating the house this year for Christmas, just sorting through stuff. And he had asked me to come out to the kitchen and go through ornaments. And there were my father's bells, his bells. And you would think, like, what is it about bells that would set me into a direction where I ended up crying the whole rest of the day? I didn't know how to handle it. Well, when my dad was really, really sick, it was his last Christmas, that my mom had put bells on his walker, which was actually my walker. And she put them on there, and they were still on the strings that she tied to the walker. And her philosophy was the bells would ring when he would escape the room because he was walking quiet as a mouse through the house. So we found all these bells that were attached to my dad's walker, and it just washed over me again. And I was back in his bedroom taking care of him, and I could see him sitting on the side of the bed, staring out the window, listening to Christmas music. And it just really took me by surprise. I wasn't expecting that at all. And no, I did not connect that day. I don't think I connect for a day or two after that. And it was good that I didn't because I needed that time to heal.
Process.
But I needed that, and that just happened to be the same day my mom asked me, what do I want for Christmas? And it was like, I want my dad back,
Yeah.
you know, and there was no bringing him back, but it was seeing those bells. So instead of leaving them in a box that was just like floating all around, we put them in a tin and we kept it and we marked it, Daddy's bells, so that they'll always be there, and I know where they are now, which is really important. And that depression kind of leaves a place with me, because he's not here. And alcohol took his life in so many different directions. And it affected me greatly through my life. And, you know, I was posting things on Facebook this past weekend because I want people to know about preventing people who are in depression from going to the wrong end of the spectrum and not waking up the next day.
Yep.
And that's something that is so important that people don't need to know or need to wake up from or need to deal with right now. There are so many people, not only on this boat, but there are so many people. If you pick up a phone, you can ask for help. You can have a code word with your best friend. It could be anything that would be so inane to a normal conversation you would have with your best friend. You know, if you never say the word ostrich, say the word ostrich to your best friend and say ostrich, or text them ostrich or kangaroo or a far off place, whatever, and let them know that that would be the code word. Something seriously wrong and I need to reach out because
Yep.
I have lived through 3 times of waking up in that hospital and not being able to deal with my life. And I don't want anybody to think that that is the best place to be
Right.
because you
You
need to
know,
connect. You need to connect.
yeah. The R. Blake, I'm so sorry for you, man. Thoughts and prayers. It's so many people this holiday season are going to be going into, and it's every year, right? This is every single year, especially here on the boat. That each season there are new people that are going into a holiday season without a dad and or without a mom or without a child, and it's obviously this is really the hardest thing in the whole world. And sadly, we've gotten away from what heals us, right? I mean, honestly, what heals us is other people, and we come to this belief, and you say it a lot, right? You have to heal yourself. You do, but it's so hard to heal yourself alone. It really is, man. It is almost impossible to heal yourself alone. Having connections with people that you talk to about things that hurt. I had 3 people today, quiet girl, who sent me in the last 24 hours, who sent me an email that said, "I hate journaling," for the opening sentence. Like, I can't do it, right? And then they proceed to journal to me, right? This long. It's not an email. It's journaling. And
That's a
you're
normal
doing
thing
it to
though.
me, but it is, yeah, exactly, right? And for so many people, I think that the concept of the struggle is the fact that you're journaling. All right, screw it. Don't journal. Send me an email, right? For real. Like, if that's the only way
Exactly.
you can do it. And I've had people on the boat who said to me, even if you're not reading these things, Tommy, I'm going to keep sending them because in my head, it makes more sense to me, and whatever works, but get it out of your dome,
It's
right?
writing a letter. It's writing an insanely long text. It's getting out. And because I will send you a text that's like 65 pages long.
And you're not playing. And
And
there'll be
and
at least a page of just emojis.
right, and you will turn around and go, "Okay." Or you won't answer, but you know that I had to get that out. I had to write it, and that's where it was.
Yeah.
And it's just you knowing, okay, something's up. She needs to speak, and that's where it's going. It might not go to whoever, or I don't need to answer this because I know what she's saying, where she's coming from, and what she's thinking, and that's it.
Yep.
And so often, and with me, and I'm going to take this to a point that I think needs to be made is I had 3 separate attempts um to not waking up in the morning. And I'm using that because that's exactly what happened. Um the first time I remember very vividly. The second time I really don't remember very vividly. And the third time I don't remember what happened. And I'll tell you why. So the first time I remember this, my boyfriend broke up with me, which you were talking about today, about the 7 months and that whole thing.
Yeah.
And I was in my room the night before. I was very depressed. I was painting because it's something I love to do. I was painting and I was literally shutting down and I didn't know it. And the next morning I woke up and it was raining outside and I was in a weird state in my head, and I was driving to my ex-boyfriend's house because the night before I saw him kissing his new girlfriend on his front lawn. Like I need that.
Right.
And I don't really remember what happened except for taking 99 pills with about that much Sprite. Like
Yeah.
literally like this much Sprite in a bottle. I took 99 pills. I took so much stuff. It was ridiculous. And the doctors were like, and I think I took about 75 Xanax, and the rest was a combination of other things. And
Because the 75 Xanax wouldn't have got it done. You
I
needed a
didn't
little
know
bit
what
more.
I literally don't know what I was doing.
Yeah,
And
75 Xannies would have done it.
right,
That's
exactly. But
plenty.
I didn't really know. And I was screaming in the street that I wanted Jack Daniels. I don't know why. And I got picked up by the police and I was in the back of the car and I all I remember was the cop was saying to me, not knowing that this was completely utterly illegal and I would be arrested for it, but I wasn't. She's going, "Did you take any medication?" And I said, "No." But I'm literally like, she knew I did.
Yeah, you were a
And
puddle by that point.
you basically, and
Yeah.
she turned around and she went to open the car door, and I kind of felt completely out of it and took me right into the hospital. And that was the end of that. And the next morning, I wake up and I'm in ICU. And my mom and dad walk in, and I'm 20 years old at this time. And there's nothing like waking up and looking at your parents, looking at you, and you're going, I am in so much trouble, you know?
Oh,
But
yeah.
this was after Memorial Day, after my sister had just graduated 4 years at Penn State, at the top of her class, mind you, while holding 3 jobs, being the perfect daughter, the perfect student, the perfect everything. And here I am. And I ended up in a mental hospital for 3 months and 5 days.
It's a good
Fast,
long stay.
yeah. And then I went through domestic violence with my son's father. I had my son, who's amazing, and ended
How old
up
is your boy now?
30.
30?
Absolutely incredible kid.
I have a son that age.
Yeah.
Spanx is that age. Yeah.
And Ty is the love of my life, and so is his fiance Sean, and I adore both of them. And I couldn't be a prouder mom. But then I got into a relationship with another guy years later, and didn't think that was possible. And I was going to marry, are you ready for this? The
Mm-hmm.
bartender at my dad's bar, who was from Ireland.
Oh my goodness. What could possibly go wrong?
Nothing, right? Every day he was off, which was Sundays and Mondays, we were out drinking at other bars to pay the tips forward.
How kind.
Yes.
Yeah,
And he used
very
to
kind.
yell at me.
Stimulating the economy.
Yes. And he would yell at me because I would only drink shots and soda. So he didn't think that was drinking. He would say that was a joke. I had to drink beer and shots and mixed drinks and everything. And I was like, ew, that was gross. So my alcoholism again started to move forward. And although he showered me with gifts and everything under the sun, it didn't work. And, it was a nightmare. And ended up, we got engaged. And one day we were in Florida for Valentine's Day. And I woke up in the bed in Florida, staring at the ceiling, going, I'm going to marry my father.
Realization kicked in.
Really quick. And I could not speak to him the rest of the way home. The rest of the day in Florida, the flight home, coming back to the house after the flight, drove him home to our house that we bought, and ended up looking at him in the car and going, I can't marry you. I am so sorry. It was bad.
Yeah.
And a couple months later, again, I don't remember what happened. I think it was like October, November time. And my sister and my mom found me and took me off to the hospital. And the next night, my mom said to me, you have a choice. Either you come home and take care of your son, or you go to another hospital and you lose your family and your child, and that's it.
How old was
And
your boy at that point?
Ty was two.
2? Okay.
Two. And so that was a hard pill to swallow. That was a really,
Yeah.
really hard pill to swallow. And it was awful. It was really, really awful. And I went home and took care of him, did whatever I had to, moved out of my parents' house like within 9 months, and you know, decided that I'm gonna change my whole life, and that's exactly what I did. And moved out and ended up in a relationship with another alcoholic. And
Isn't it funny how we continually
there we
do the
go.
same things?
Exactly, exactly. And at the same time, I was seeing a psychiatrist. I was on Depakote, and I was doing really well, but I was taking Depakote and I was drinking. So hey, life's
Oh,
delicious. And it was a
yeah,
nightmare.
that's a
It was
great combo.
Yeah,
That's a
it
great
was.
combo.
It was, and I mean, I've done a lot of stupid things in my life, and I don't condone them to anybody else doing them. But I'm still here. I'm still alive. And 15 years ago, I was in the motorcycle field for 10 years. I was
Okay.
in the industry for, which is a very strange industry for a woman to be in. I was ranked, it basically number 2 in the country for motorcycle safety, which is an
Really?
impossible thing. Yes. for motorcycle safety. I could tell you anything that you needed to know about helmets, clothes, boots, anything. Um, and I worked really hard at my job. And I worked for Harley Davidson, and I worked for Honda, and then I worked for Suzuki, where I left, and I ran that dealership myself. So it's something I'm really proud of because it's something that I found an escape to, and it was generally a very clean job because I was already married to my husband and we had worked together for a very long time. When I worked at Suzuki, I was by myself, which made it even more fun, um, because I was able to expand a lot more and really find my feet, and
Right.
which was good. But I was also insanely manic through all of it. So I was riding high 24 hours a day, 7 days a week for what they gathered was about 15 years
Good Lord in
straight.
heaven.
And I was not, underscore that about 10 times, not, not at all stopping. I was only in the industry for 10. The 5 years prior, I was bartending. And so it just kept going and going and going. And one night, I don't know what happened, and I found out later what happened from my psychiatrist at the time. Um, I was driving home and literally don't know what happened. I ended up taking a lot of Depakote, and I know some of the people in the chat are from Pennsylvania. I was driving on 202, um, going towards Malvern on the Pennsylvania Turnpike. It's about 86 miles of highway. Okay, just to give you an idea, Tommy, toll roads
Yep.
included. Okay, and I don't remember driving past 8:30. I got on 202 at 8:25. It took me an hour to get home. Rich did not find me until 3:30 in the morning in my car. Car turned on, radio blasting. I'm leaned over to one side of the car, sound asleep.
Right.
And he ran to get my neighbors, and they woke up and they carried me in, and they called 911. And I got to the hospital an hour before my organ shut down.
Wow.
That was 15 years ago. And
Wow.
yeah, so I'm coming here to let people know it's not worth it. At that point, I was put in the hospital. I was induced into a coma for 4 or 5 days. And everything gets a little sketchy. He called my work and told them that I collapsed from exhaustion. Only one person in there really knew what happened, and I didn't have to tell him. He knew.
I'll tell you what, that is collapsing from exhaustion. You spend 15 years in a manic state. I mean, good Lord, I can't imagine the exhaustion. I really can't, and I can completely understand. Um, I can completely understand why anything that would be a release to that. You know, I was talking to somebody, and I think I said it on one of the earlier shows. People are seeking peace, even when people try to make that permanent solution to a temporary
Mm-hmm.
problem and unalive themselves. It is the final attempt, right? That's the statement that I tried everything else and I can't find anything
Well,
else.
here's the thing. Because you're
Sadly, they never try everything else. You know.
right. Well, here's the thing. Because you're bipolar, and this is what I found out from my psychiatrist at the time. He told me that you can run on mania for so long, and eventually, in eventually, your mind will your opposite will happen. So your brain will eventually just turn on itself. and say, this isn't going to keep going on. You got to stop. So it's not literally, it wasn't me making the decision. It was my brain making the decision to do it.
Right.
I had no idea what was going on. I don't remember anything but hanging up with Rich, telling him I was on my way home from work. That's it. And I distinctly remember hanging up the phone with him. I don't remember anything past that. So when I woke up 5 days later to my neurologist saying, your brain is fine, and I'm going, where am I? And then a psychiatrist walks in my room, who I don't even know, and says, your family doesn't want you back.
Wow.
Your family doesn't want you. Your husband doesn't want you. Nobody wants you. Where are you going? We have to send you somewhere. And I'm in
Nice
tears.
bedside manner.
Yeah. And Rich walks in, and I told him what they said. And I said, you don't want me? And he said, what are you talking about? I said, that's what the guy just told me. And he says, you're wrong. I want you back home. Everybody wants you home. What is wrong? And he went back out and he yelled, don't let that guy back in her room. But
That's bizarre.
yeah. And the weirdest part is that my therapist at the time, who I'd been seeing for years, she didn't pick up on it. My psychiatrist hadn't picked up on it. Nobody did. And apparently I had been dropping hints, but I didn't know it. And that's why I tell everybody, this is just not the way to go. You have to connect to people, no matter if you know them or not. That's why I always tell people, call me. I understand whatever you're going through. I will get it. I understand mental illness. I understand the things that people don't think are possible to understand. I've been through too much in my life.
One of the reasons we talk so often on the Lifeboat about how very often the people who make it out, the people who successfully get sober have this kind of an overwhelming desire to then kind of pass the message of sobriety on to others. And I think it is a very similar thing for a lot of people who survive real struggles with mental health. In that, again, it's so similar in that the stigma is the same. Right? I mean, you tell somebody that you have mental illness, they're going to look at you like you said you smoke crack. Very often, it's the same kind of stigma, and there just, I think, are a lot of similarities rather, and a lot of things that are really similar. And it forces you. You feel like if your story's not getting out, you're part of the problem. If that makes sense, you know what I
Well,
mean?
I attended classes with NAMI, and the way that they actually define it is to say, do you want to walk around the rest of your life with a sandwich board on? Or do you want to be a person that doesn't wear it and owns it? And I would rather own it
Right.
than wear it. I'm proud to be the one to have it, to be the strong one that can handle it. I know people that don't handle it well.
Well, and you know what? And you're doing it the right way. I mean, you get it, you seek help, right? I mean, there are so many people on planet Earth right now, and I think that you're such a great ambassador for this. There are so many people on planet Earth that are terrified of their own of their the last thing in the world they want is a doctor to give them a diagnosis. Like their diagnosis is something that's terrifying. I get letters from people that say, I'd like to talk to a professional, I'm just terrified what they'd tell me. They would tell you what's wrong with you. Right? They would tell
Right.
you where there might be an imbalance, and they'd start working on maybe trying to get those chemicals leveled out so that it is possible. Right? We're always going to be a little different.
Yeah,
Every one
we
of us here.
are.
Every one of
We
us here is
are.
going to be a little different.
But the
But
amazing thing, and what I went through with my last psychiatrist and
yes,
how like off the charts she was, I started with a new psychiatrist. my first appointment, she said to me, okay, what are we dealing with? And I said to her, this is what we're dealing with. And she said, okay, this is what I want you to do right now. We're not going to change your medications or anything. We're just going to up what you're already taking. I was like, okay, that works for me.
Right?
She says, let's see where we are in a month. Let me work on what drug's going to work for you. That is what you need all the
Yeah.
time. Now, maybe I'm lucky because I have a team of people that I work with, but everybody can have a team. It's about advocating for yourself.
Amen.
It's about talking to people that know how to advocate, who know how to speak to doctors, who know how to reach out and get the right help for you all the time. Whether you need to reach me and call me on Facebook, if you need to reach out to Tommy and say, get me in touch with Karen, I don't care. You know, these are things that can't go by the wayside. You have to push and push and push. You know, the things I've overcome in my life are everything from mental illness to adoption to alcoholism to everything. You know, I faced so many different things in my life. I adopted out both of my kids, my son and my daughter. My son and my sister, and my daughter to parents who I hate. Um, because I had to. I had no choice. My mental health was more important to me. And it didn't work out well for me. My son is my champion. I only saw my daughter in person when she was a day old. But these are choices I made because I had to. I didn't have the choice. I didn't have the luxury of going, yeah, well, I can do it now. No, I couldn't. What did it give me more time to do? Drink. A
Yeah.
lot more time to drink. A lot more reasons to drink. And to go, it's okay. I don't have to worry. You know? So, you know, what I've dealt with is huge. But I'm 54, I'm still alive, and I'm not going anywhere.
Right? Well,
I
and
had a
you're not just alive. Honestly, I mean, you're a survivor, but you're touching the lives of a lot of people, and you're, you know, that I've said this so many times on the boat, and it used to be a recurring theme that we beat on a lot in the first year because Mark and I used to talk about it, that in recovery you're moving forward or you're moving backwards, right? There's never a point in recovery where you just sort of are parked waiting for a light to turn from red to green. It doesn't work like that. We're always moving forward in a direction. The second we stop that forward momentum, it's because we're going backwards. And backwards leads in awful directions. And this is the exact same thing, whether we're talking about drug addiction or anything else. It
yeah,
really is. You have to constantly be moving forward. And it's little things. It's having your day scheduled, right? It's having a game plan for what happens when the crap hits the fan, because the crap hits the fan. It
yeah,
happens. If you struggle with mental illness, we're all going to have days. And Quiet Girl and I work together. She helps a lot with the boat. And there have been days where I just said, "I love you. I can't talk to you. Like my head's going to explode. This is a day
yeah.
where my dome is going to go boom, and I'm going to have brains on the ceiling." And to her credit, you know, Quiet Girl always goes, "All right, can you get a hold of me tomorrow?" Like she never does the "No, we're going to talk about this right now" thing. It's always the you know, can you shoot me a call in
Well,
the morning when your head's right?
my
But
favorite was like 2 weeks ago when I went to get my teeth and they were all messed up. And I said, my whole Christmas is ruined. And you turned around and went, no, it's not. It's going to be the greatest damn Christmas ever. And I'm like, I won't have my teeth. And you were
right,
like, it's okay. It's okay.
yeah.
And to your credit, they're actually much better than the first set of teeth ever were.
There
So
you go.
we're still working on them, but they are awesome.
That's the spirit. That's the spirit. Gonna get that hey Kool-Aid smile.
Yeah, I
That's
will.
what the boys that's what the boys in the joint call it. When the guy
Yeah.
comes back from getting their grill, they always go, "Hey Kool-Aid," as soon as they walk in because you get that. And I love that. I love it. But you know what? It's so easy. It's so easy, especially this time of year. It's so easy to just go, well, there goes the season, right? Or there goes the holiday. And it's so easy for us to start to fall back into that. When you did the this is going to be the worst. No, it's not. Like, we're not letting that happen. We're
Right.
not letting that happen. We're going to do whatever it takes to make sure that that doesn't happen. And that's what we're going to do for everybody here. Kelly says, I broke a tooth today. Every
Don't
time someone
worry
tells me
about
this,
it.
every time somebody tells me this, I have to tell them the story. The two really quick ones. My sister broke her tooth swimming in a river, and the heavyweight champion of the world at the time had just knocked out Muhammad Ali, and he was a guy named Leon Spinks, and he was missing a half a tooth right in the
Uh-huh.
middle of one. And when she came up out of the water and looked at me, she went, "My tooth." I went, "You look exactly like Leon Spinks." And the fight had been like 2 days earlier, and she to this day has never, like, if it comes up, she'll just look at me and scowl, because I guess she was wanting more
Yeah.
compassion. But the other one was, we were having a dinner party, and a woman said, "Oh my goodness, I just I just lost my tooth." And the person next to her said, "What, the whole tooth?" And my dad, who was just the fastest person on his feet, went, "Had nothing but the tooth." And the way the whole thing went, it took like 2 seconds. And I mean, we were having a sort of a party kind of a thing, and people couldn't stop laughing. My dad was great that way. He was so fast on his feet. But yeah, every time somebody says, "I'm so sorry you broke your tooth, Kelly," that sucks. And then you breathe across it and the nerve hurts, and
Oh
it's not
yeah.
fun.
That's the
You're
worst.
you're right, Steve. I apologize. He had just become the champion. He took him to the 15th round. I think it was a one of the colossal beatdowns that Ali took. He should have never been there. And the only one that was worse, yeah, I won't even get into it. I worked with him, and we got to be friends. That whole part of his life was just awful. It really
Yeah.
was. It never should have happened, and it did so much damage to him. It was bad.
He was a good guy.
But a softball, snot face. You know what? I gotta say this. In high school, I think I dated every single girl that played softball. Like, I'm not even kidding. I think at
Really,
one
the
time or
whole
another,
team?
I may have dated the entire team at one time or another. It was just, we just had a
Don't
really
you
beautiful.
realize girls talk between each other?
Yeah, well, I
Like
wasn't particularly.
they
I wasn't
all
bright until
talk?
46. We've been through this. I didn't start firing on even four cylinders until I was 46. The last four only kicked in a few years ago. There,
Oh,
quiet girl.
okay.
I'm lucky to be doing simple math. Tex Cobb was bad, but the when he fought Larry Holmes, he didn't want to take that fight. And according to him, out of his mouth, Ali said that he was given a shot that he was told was B12, that it would they were going to get him a vitamin B12 shot, and he said to me, "They doped me. It wasn't vitamin B12." And for that reason, he was not a big fan of Don King. To the end, he was not a Don King fan. He used to not go to fights if he could avoid it. If Don King was there, he really disliked him. So something just happened to me. A coworker FaceTime and took my good mood down to depression again. Well, then
Uh-oh.
let's fix that crap. Okay, look. This is something that I beat to death, and I'm sure you guys get sick of it, but we got to do it. We really do, right? Because this works on the principle of, they make me so mad. That makes me so mad. That makes me up. Nothing makes nothing, right? Nothing. We take the 5% of what happens to us, and then the 95% is how we deal with it, right? The 5% is that we have no control over. So your jackwagon coworker just called and FaceTimed you. 5%. Nothing you could do about that, right? They may have been a jackass. That would be part of the 5%. All you can do is how you deal with it. And we're never going to let people dictate how we feel,
Now, one
right?
thing I will say is that one thing you can do that will bring you out of a depression, and I know, Tommy, you don't understand this philosophy, but it's something that I've learned over time, is color. Okay, so if there's a common color that you wear every single day, don't wear it anymore. Let's get rid of that color. If you normally wear black or gray or red or whatever, don't wear it. Shift your colors. You always want to stay into a medium gray color tone, meaning you don't want to be in black, you don't want to be white, because then you're going to and it's a bipolar thing, okay? So when you're manic, you're super white, you're NASA white. When you're really depressed, you're blacker than black, right? Everybody wants to stay in a medium gray color tone, which is great, okay? So if the color you're wearing is depressing, you don't want to wear that color. Go to a pink, go to a yellow, go to an orange, go to a bright green, anything that will really uplift your mood so that you can always look at it in your peripheral vision. Always know that. Always. Even if right now you're wearing something and it's dark, put on something that's bright, something that makes you feel good. Don't let that coworker have any type of hold on any type of emotion that you are holding on to. You are giving them every ounce of your energy, and they don't deserve it.
Nobody rents space in your dome, right? For real, nobody rents space in your dome. The ultimate satisfaction for me in everything that I do, I'm not kidding, is that is my superpower at this juncture of my life. Do you know the number of people who are going to send me a really ugly email tonight? Right? Especially with the show I did today. I'm going to get a lot of ugly emails, and I don't care
I
because
think the
the
show you
people.
today was brilliant.
You know what though? You get it, right? What it does is there are a lot of people who aren't going to listen to what I had to say. There are a lot of people who are going to hear what I said. They're going to hear the emotion and they're going to think I'm picking sides, and I'm not. I
No,
don't want anybody of any race
I,
being picked on
I
for any
want you to
reason. That's all I was
understand
saying.
that's where I'm going to get my teeth made.
Yeah,
I'm going to Penn. I'm going to the
that's
University of Penn. I go there every week.
so.
I'm
How
on
far a
that
drive is
camp.
it?
About 20 miles.
Okay, not
It's
bad.
absolutely gorgeous.
Yes, it
It,
is. Yes, it is.
it's an incredible campus, and
Yep.
driving into the city, it's just amazing. But I mean, I go there every week, so I know, and I've been following that story very closely because it's a Philadelphia story, so everybody, it's on all the news channels.
Yeah.
And what they're saying, and you covered that brilliantly this morning. I really honestly want to tell you that.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Did you
You
see your
know,
face, Ed? Anything that smells like bergamot cheers me up. The reason that I highlighted this is because they sold a hair treatment in the feds that was bergamot, right?
yeah.
Uh, and that's what this tattoo is. Like all of my ink is made with
Mhm.
that. So the smell, like I think if you could get close enough, you would probably that's probably what my arm smells like because
There
that's
you
what
go.
I made every bit of. So the way you make ink in prison is you set something on fire and then you catch all the soot, right?
Right.
But it has to be something that burns without you sitting there holding it like paper or whatever. And we would use that bergamot gel, and it burns beautifully. But that's the black. And you make your own color so you don't get the really light kind of prison
Yeah.
tattoos or the really dark greens that you can't see. You want to
Yeah.
make your own, and then you're not going to get poisoned either.
Oh, well, that's a highlight.
This is a cool one. I hear that when I'm having a wonky day that brings me down, I change my nail color. It usually works. I love this. Yeah, and you know something, quiet girl? I think that there's probably a decent amount of science to this. And the reason that I say that is when I started being in trouble, right?
Right.
Prisons were gray. The walls were gray. Everything was gray. There was no color in anything. And there was a shift. A period of time went by and I went back to and was incarcerated again after being gone for a while. And everything was painted. And it was all painted by design to take inmates and chill them out. So we had all kinds of pinks, like all the poles inside would be painted pink, or really super light blues, but they were always colors that were just really hard to be angry looking at. Like it was
Yeah.
super obvious what they were doing, right? I mean, you walk in and it's just a bunch of big steroided out kind of looking dudes because they're all working out all day every day and everywhere you look is pink. They paint everything pink.
Yeah.
And it does
Well,
have an effect.
yeah. Well, when we moved to this house, my mom actually said to me, when you paint your when you decide to paint your room, I want you to paint it blue. It'll calm you down, and go with a blue that'll bring you down. And I find myself more anxious in the rest of the house than I do in my bedroom.
I
And
sorry, go ahead.
no, and I find that it works all the time.
Uh,
I just walk in my
uh,
room and I just feel like,
that's a beautiful thing. Moni69 says when power is taken off you by bosses or colleagues, it's extremely hard to take the power back with what they have sucked the life out of you, like a leech. I spoke for a company because I spoke for a company called American Business Seminars (ABS), and everybody spoke for ABS. Like everybody, if you were a speaker, you spoke for them. There was nobody else. And then other companies started to open, and it went from kind of being a one trick pony to you could actually shop around and maybe try to get a better deal. And I did that because I was that guy. And I ended up going and working for someone that I shouldn't have worked for. And they were a terrible, terrible company. And I actually did about a 1 month tour where I was speaking in the first and second position for this company. Like I would go on stage and do a presentation, walk off stage, take a 10-minute break and walk back on stage and do it again. The exact same thing. You talk about just like being abused. It was the worst month of my life. Honestly, it was a living hell. I was basically doing the job of three people, and they paid a lot of money, but they were killing me in the process and didn't care. And we stayed in bad hotels. They were cheap. It was awful.
yeah, but even when you feel like your bosses or your colleagues are taking advantage of you and draining you of every possible drip of life in you, you cannot let them have the power over you. Because if they take the power from you, you can no longer perform. You can no longer be the person you are. Everything in your life is going to suffer. So you honestly need to find something to grab that back just a little bit at a time, you know? And that is so important. Even when you feel the littlest bit of power is inside of you, grab it as hard as you can and hang on and hold tight, and it will come back to you in spades.
Well, I remember the day that I quit that job, and I had called back the company that I worked for prior to that, and I said, "Man, this was a mistake. Like I shouldn't have left. I'm an idiot." You know what I mean? Is there any chance I could get my job back? And the guy said no. And I called my friend and they said, "Man, he told me that he wouldn't hire me again, and he's mad." And he's like, "Dude," and I was very young in the industry. He goes, "He's going to call you in 4 days." He's like, a speaker's going to screw up and he's going to need another one. But I was so low. Like, I remember going home to my family and, we were doing well. Like, we were living good. And I had to go home and tell the wife that I had, I wasn't making money and that I had left a job I shouldn't have left. I remember it was just a dark, dark time. But leaving that dump, like going and saying to him, "I'm done." I didn't know how I was going to get paid. I didn't know anything. But walking away, it was scary as hell, but it was one of those moments that kind of like probably Aaron coming out and saying, "Screw it, I'm going to tell you everything." When you just get it all out and you throw, like when that business was behind me, I don't care how I was making a living. I'll figure it out. But I
Well,
didn't have to sweat the following day. You know what I mean?
right.
That was liberating as hell.
Right. Well, when I started with Honda, we were a startup. We literally were a brand new dealership right from the Jump Street. And I had to go into this interview, and my nails were like 2 inches long, curved.
That's
I
pretty
had
standard operating procedure, though, isn't it? You're used to that.
what 2 inch
Your
long nail? Oh,
nails.
oh well, they're usually about yay long, and they're
Yeah.
curved. And I had this peach pink taffeta suit on, and I mean I had the mohawk going, the whole 9 yards. I walk in, and here is the manager that I'm going to deal with, who is talking to me, going, "Well, are you sure you'll be able to do this job?" And blah 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 blah. And this interview went on for 2 hours, and I am
Oh,
like,
wow.
dude, come on, give me a break. And finally, I turned around to him and I looked at him and I was like, he's like, can you handle doing this job? And I said, yeah, no problem, because I had done it at Harley Davidson. And
Right?
I started working, and he went, "You better be ready. You got 7 days." I said, I'll tell you what, you have 7 days. I said, you hire me for 7 days. You don't even have to pay me. I said, I'll be here, I'll work. And if you don't like what I do in 7 days, then I'll leave. And he looked at me and he went, oh, okay. He just, oh, okay, whatever. And
He needed to see a little guts.
he threw me in dumpsters, had me carrying tires, had me doing all this manly work, didn't think I would be able to handle it, nothing. And I ended up going, I got this, not a problem. I'll do whatever I need to do. And a couple months go down the road, I'm still there, everything's great. And a couple walks in, black couple, and he was insanely racist till
Oh
I
no.
said this. And he goes, and we had a showroom was like 10,000 square feet. So we're all the way at the end of the showroom, and he says to me, "I need to I need to tell you something." I said, "What?" He goes, "Why are you bothering with them? They're not going to buy a damn thing." Excuse me? Because you know they're not going to buy anything. You're wasting your time. I said, "What? What are you talking about? Let me ask you a question. Is their blood red?" He's like, "Yeah." I said, "Is their money green?" "Yeah." Enough said. And he went, "I never thought of it that way." Mind you, years later, he has a heart attack, is diagnosed with cancer, diabetes, all these things all at once. Literally all in one day, all at once. He calls me on the phone and he goes, "Are you stuck in concrete?" Because I had already left working for him. And he goes, "You stuck in concrete?" I said, "No, what do you need?" And he said, "I need you to go back, take my job. I need you to take my job." And I said, "How do you know I can do this?" He goes, "Because you've been doing it since you started." And I said, "Okay." And I go back, everything's cool. And he died a couple months later. And I knew because he trusted me with that. He said, "You taught you before he passed away." He said, "You taught me how to do my job." And I'm glad you did. That made me feel good. When people finally break, whether it's at death or in their life, and they break down to you, that's what means a lot. And that shows you your
It's
worth.
I'm really I'm really happy that that we had you here in December. This is such an appropriate time for this conversation. Um, you know, we did the mental health thing. If you just joined the boat, I did a show where I came on and said, "Let me tell you about my diagnosis," because I got a grip of them. Right, I got a grip of them. I've been diagnosed with so many different mental things. However, I'm in treatment, right? Not just for my recovery, but for my mental health. And man, to me, it's not any different than a busted leg, right? I would not walk to work or hobble around on a broken leg, and I assure you, I am not going to walk around with a broken mind. You know, I did that for 46 years, and it just worked out so poorly. I mean, I ran off every nice woman I ever met. Right? I mean, I married them or divorced them, and then just I ruined so many lives, and I did everything wrong. And the amazing thing has been that since adopting this whole concept of connection, it has gone in the exact opposite direction. I mean, it's 180 degrees, and I live in a life now that if you had told me that this was a possibility, I wouldn't have believed you. I wouldn't have. I wouldn't have even thought it was a possibility if you had told me a few years back after I was sober. I just did not think that this was a possibility. Zen Wen, thank you so much. The month of January, Zen will be completely cut off because she's continues to donate money after she reaches her monthly spending limit. So what's going to happen is she'll probably do it into the month of February and then I'll not be allowed to donate for the rest of the year. Z-Dub, thank you so much. You are incredibly kind. So, how are you looking at this January 1 thing? Do you do resolutions? And I'm asking you because this is actually a really important thing on the lifeboat. It really is. This is an annual thing here, and we get into it. We get really into it. It doesn't have to. I don't like the idea of people quitting things for New Year's. Seventh Son last year, or maybe it was the year before, because we've been here now a minute. But one of the Christmases, Seventh Son said, "You know what? Instead of quitting something for January 1, I'm going to take up a habit for January 1." And he decided he was going to learn to cook enchiladas. And people just started saying, "You know what? This January, I'm going to pick up a habit. I'm going to pick up a habit. I'm going to get a new hobby, or I'm going to get a new habit. I'm going to get something in my life that is going to demand that I connect with other people, or I won't be able to do it."
Right.
Get out
Right.
there and find some connection. Find some no BS, shake some hands, meet some people, connection. Because it will, no lie, change your life. And when I was talking the other day, and I was talking about all the people that I've met, and since I started doing that, and people that I've met in person or whatever. Barb came and saw me here and Ray. Like I've met a ton of people from this. You do actually stick around. You'll start to realize that these people really do become a
Family.
form of family. Yeah.
This is my family. This is my tribe. This is the lifeboat.
Right. This is the family. This is the tribe. Make it make sense. Says that is an amazing idea. I love it. Every once in a while, Seventh Son comes up with one that's pretty damn solid. Normally
That's
it's
not a
just a
dad
dad joke, but Seventh will nail you with a couple of really solid ones. The enchilada habit is totally worthy, right? Tell me that's not legit.
Yeah.
The enchilada thing is a genius idea.
Well, see, I have a lot of things going on, and they're all hitting somewhere around the first and after the first.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And I think you would be surprised.
The enchilada really is totally worthy. I'm sorry.
Yes.
It's just, so as we start to unrelated family. Yeah, one of my favorite things because you just hear it all the time, right? And I deal with this constantly on the lifeboat because people who are reaching out late night so often have very serious family trouble. That's a reality. There's a lot of family trouble, right? And what ends up happening is that they're going to inevitably say to me, "Well, you can't choose your family," right? It's just one of those expressions that people say to me. I hear it as much as any other cliche, and I always go, "Why the hell not? Why can't you? Like, who told you that? Is that just a cliche that people say? Because you absolutely can choose your family. I promise you can.
Always.
Yeah. Yeah. Build you a sobriety family. It really does wonders. Oh, Barbie, you went there? Do you know how bad I want a perfect steak right now? I can't believe you said that. Fortunately, I'm doing pork chops, and I really like pork chops. She's cooking the perfect steak. That just hurts, man. It just hurts. I'm such a steak person.
Well, do you want to know what I'm going to do?
I do.
Do you want to know the whole kit and caboodle of what's going on?
Yeah, give me the shooting match. Let's hear it.
All right, I will be off of Klonopin as of the 31st of December. We never thought this was going to happen.
Do you know, this is a long time in the making. Are you serious? It's going to be the 31st?
Gone. Wow. It could be this Thursday for all I know. I don't know. But no later.
Do you know how hard that is to wean off of? You're a stud.
We've been doing this since July. Now, what I need to say about this...
This is a hard drug to do this on, people. This is clonazepam. This is such a difficult... Of all of the benzos that we have on the market, this is in the top 3 for the hardest benzos on planet Earth to kick. It's dangerous because you got to wean off of it really, really slowly. It is not an easy thing to do. This is for you, sister, because that is amazing.
And this is because of you.
Oh, it's because... I'll tell you what.
No, I'm going to tell you, and I need to say this, and I need people to understand this. If I did not have the lifeboat going forward with this in July on the 13th, if I did not have the shows to watch, if I did not have Tommy's support, if I did not have Leisure and V and Awaken and Carol and all of the people that reached out to me to help me through the darkest, the hardest, the most painful times, I would have not made it through to this moment. No matter
That is
what I've gone through.
such a cool thing to. It is such a cool thing to hear. It really is. It is such a cool
And I
thing to hear.
mean,
How do you like this? You know what? There are people. I love hearing this. There are people that struggle. Like if somebody says I'm proud of you, they feel like, man, you ain't my parent. How dare you say you're proud of me? Like they're, man, if you want to tell me you're proud of me, man, go ahead. Like I love that. I really do. I love the idea that there are people out there that are proud of us. And you know what? There are a lot of people who are proud of you, Quiet Girl. I sure as hell am. I'll be really honest with you. I am. This is it's not an easy thing to come on and talk, period. Just give it a try. It's not easy. It's not easy to sit in front of a camera and just talk. It's very uncomfortable. Throw in the fact that you're going to do some honesty, and then it gets a little worse. If the subject matter is you, it gets a little worse, right? You just keep stacking this on top. But if you're going to hit the world with honesty like I have tried to leave Earth by my own hand, right? And I've tried multiple times. I don't know if you can imagine what that takes to say out loud. So I get it. I really do. I know what this takes to come on and do. And I have more respect for you for being willing to do this because you don't do this to get famous. You do this because you think that what you went through can help other people. And that's, you know what? That's good stuff. It really is. It's sacrifice, it's servitude, it's everything that will make your life absolutely better and more rewarding. And I'm so glad that I know you. I really am. Make it
it's
make sense said my mom took Klonopin also. I did too for a bit, but was so out of it. I have Xanax now, but usually just knowing I have it is enough. I don't always need to take it. I've heard that from a lot of people. I know a lot of people that got off benzos and still carry one, whatever. And you know what? Whatever works for you. We've heard stories of people that carry a pack of cigarettes for 2 years and then never smoke one, right? Because
right.
that's just having it there. Whatever works for you, man. There really are so many heroes here. There really are so many heroes here. That was
I
nice. You know what? SPTV Tattoo Warrior, Barb, spike
Barb
that
rocks.
microphone. I'm not going to let her say anything else. We're gonna end on that right there. Captain Tommy and the crew opened the door. Quiet. You walked through the door. That's on you, and she is proud of you, as I am, and I know that so many people here are. You know, it's a beautiful thing, isn't it?
It is. It
Well,
is.
we this is the second of many people. There will be more Quiet Girl because Quiet Girl
Loves
goes
to
way
be on the
above and
show.
beyond the call. Well, and goes way above and beyond the call to keep things around here going. Uh, it's not an easy thing. It really isn't. The boat is a it's an entity.
I want everybody
It's a
to know one thing about me is that all I want to do is help. If any part of my
well, and you
life can
do.
help anybody, that's
And you do, and
the
you
one
do,
thing.
and I think that so many of us that have suffered can find so much peace in doing this. There's so much peace in trying to help other people who are having a hard time. And you know what? Unless we got really short freaking memories, just about everybody here needed somebody to go like this, right? I sure as hell did, man. If
Yeah.
Q didn't put his hand down, I'd be doing something else, man. That's to be sure. Droosh Maroosh, check the playlists. And yes, you'll see more prison content. I've got probably 5 or 6 prison videos up, but we do a decent amount of it. I'll be doing a night yard with Russ this week. Be happy to do some prison content for you. We just won't do it at the fives, so look for it
And I won't write
either.
anything really bad in the thing again.
Perfect. No, you know what? That was harmless, man. I got such a laugh out of that. I really
That was
did. That
so
was
funny.
harmless, man.
That was
It
so
really
funny.
was funny. I got such a kick out of that. It was just written. It was written wrong, but it was funny as hell. I really
I
enjoyed the
didn't
hell out of
mean
it.
for it to come out that way.
I know. I know.
Just
It's always fun when that happens.
yeah,
You know
right.
what? The
But I
lifeboat
I
really
I
is a
do
life
want to give
preserver.
you um I am not only am I ending my Klonopin this year, I'm going to see my sister on Saturday for the first time in 12 years. My cousin for the first time in, I think, forever. I don't remember the last time I saw her. Next year, I am going to have lunch or dinner with Reese
Nice.
of Relatable Reese.
Yes. I
I'm
assumed.
going to go see Misha and Carol from Needing a Meeting, and probably Steve Molesky up in Flint, Michigan. And I might just swing by Tucson, Arizona.
All right.
All on
I
one
like it.
trip. So I could
I
be
like
gone for
it.
like 3 weeks from my house, and
Fire,
nobody will know who
fire
I
up a
am when I
damn
come up.
camera and film it. You hear me? Fire up
Oh,
a
believe
camera and
me, I
film it.
will.
Yeah, you don't,
Like I did
you
when
don't
I
do it
went to
right.
the shore.
Yeah, yeah. When you're doing it, film it, man. This is the beautiful thing about where we're at, right? We all know we need connection, right? If you've ever thought for a hot second, I could probably sit in front of a camera and film myself and do that. Do it. Do it.
Well, I'm filming when I
There's
get my teeth.
to
That's a big,
everybody here, to
yeah.
everybody hearing me, right? To all of you. If you've ever thought, boy, would I like to do that, do it. I'll push your channel. If what you're trying to do is connect and help other people connect, I'll push the hell out of your channel. I promise you I will. I really will. Nico, what a nice thing to say. How cool is that? Do you love hearing that? Do you love hearing that?
Yeah.
And I like it. I like it. RM Blake, thank you for being here, man. You're always just the nicest person in the world. RM Blake's great. The boat, whether you're in it or being tugged by it or holding on to the side of it, it welcomes all. That's right. All are
Or you're
welcomed. If you're
swimming
hearing the sound of my
alongside
voice,
and being pulled out of the water and being pulled into the boat.
there we go. We'll leave on that note right there. Quiet Girl is a rock star. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville. That's
I'm
Quiet Girl.
quiet
She's a rock
girl.
star. Squirrel is somewhere off protesting something that I did earlier to bother her. We will see you all in the AM. I'm Captain Tommy Scoville. On the other side of the glass is my sister Quiet Girl. Thank you all for joining us here tonight, and we will see you later. God bless.
God bless.
That was great.
See
All right.
ya